He jammed on them. The Creator stopped them. But that one bullet was fatal. It ran through the house and I started rolling down this hill. And the only thing that stopped me from going over this embankment was a tree. And I danced in the Sundance about 2 weeks before that. I danced in the Sundance. I was in terrible pain. Next thing I knew, I woke up and I was walking in this beautiful valley. Birds were just waking up. I could hear them chirping. I could see pebbles of flowers and opening up, and it's all you could smell. That perfume, that beautiful perfume, that smell I'd never smelled since. And I got to that river that they always talk about when you go home. I got to that river and I was thirsty. And I walked out into the water and I took hands full of water and I splashed my face and I started drinking. Even the fish, I never drank water that fresh and that clean in my life since. Even the fish would come up and look at me and smile like. I heard somebody standing next to me and I looked and it was a little doe. I reached over and I kind of pet him like that. I looked in the west and I could hear some rustling in the west. And I looked way across the river on the bank and here's all these Indian people come up in the horizon. The sun was shining, hit them at this time in the face. And they all had blankets around them and furs. And right in the middle of them was my father. Right in the middle was my father. I tried to get to him. I tried to run. The fog kind of came across the water and grabbed me right here on the knees, and I couldn't run any further. I heard, "Pa!" just as loud. "Pa!" Loud as I could. You couldn't hear me. All of a sudden, they walked away. The deer took off. I was all alone. I started crying. Here I'm home. I'm home where the grandfather told me I'd go to be with my father, to be with all my loved ones. I'm here now and nobody will talk to me. Everybody left me here. Then I came to and I could feel that pain again from that lead. I looked around and I could see blood all over in the grass. There was blood. Kodog was standing over me singing. And I could see the sun shining through the tree. And I thought he was piercing me. I thought I was in the Sundance. I thought he was piercing me. And here he was putting medicine into that wound where I was shot. He loaded me up, took me downtown to the Indian Health Service. Not a doctor on duty. It was a powwow weekend. They had to find drivers, and they drove me to Winter, the most racist city in South Dakota. They loaded me in an ambulance and we took off 57 miles. Had 2 pints of blood, had booked up. One of them fell over from the bumps and hit me in the head and there was blood all over me. Next thing I knew, they ran out of gas. Indian ambulance ran out of gas. I heard them radio it for help. I heard a siren coming. It was a highway patrol. I heard another siren coming. There was another ambulance come to get me. They took me in. Took them 2.5 hours. Cut me open all the way from here down. Took them 2.5 hours to find that bullet and it was stayed intact. Somehow, some way, the Creator kept that intact. The Creator gave me another opportunity to live. That my work wasn't done as what was told to me later. I had a lot of work yet to do. He let me live. He let me live. While I was laying in the hospital recuperating, somebody came up and broke the window and attempted to kill me, shoot me again. So I had to bring in Lenny Foster and all the patrol to surround the hospital, have security. Put me up on the 2nd floor so nobody could shoot me. I found out about this 2 days later when I came out of the coma and called a friend of mine in Minneapolis, a Lutheran minister that supported us. And he sent a Lear jet down to pick me up and take me to the university. A week later, I got out of the hospital. There's a big ceremony going on over in a place called Round Lake on the St. Croix, 80 miles from Minneapolis. My wife kept every day, always, well, you got to go down there. I said, no, the doctor said I can't leave Minneapolis. I got to stay right here because of the condition. You got to go there, want you down there. They need you. They want to have a ceremony for you. And she just wouldn't let up. Finally, I caved into her. I said, all right, just to shut her up. I said, let's go, we'll go. Sunday morning, we drove down to Round Lake. For miles all the way into this little reservation. There was cars parked all over in the woods. I had to walk all the way in there. Walked in there, and when I got in there, they grabbed me, and they took me into a sweat lodge. I didn't want to go in no sweat lodge. I could hardly breathe. They took me into the sweat lodge. And in that sweat lodge, they told me what was going to happen. They said that this old man, this old chief, was going to make me a chief that day. Because I went away to another tribe to protect the women and children. Because I was willing to give my life, and nearly gave my life for what we believed in. They were now going to make me a chief, a ceremony they never had for over 100 years. But in order to give you an eagle feather, they said, there was a time in our history before that you could not even touch a feather like this until you had an Indian name. And so they sent this same young man that came up to solitary confinement to visit me in Stillwater Prison. They brought him in to give him tobacco without my knowledge. And he went out into the woods to seek a dream, to seek a vision. Way out in the woods, no car, no telephone, nothing. Just a little lean-to and some tea to drink, some herbal tea. On the third night of his fast, in his dream, about 2 or 3 in the morning, he said he could see this, in his dream, this sheet lightning coming through the woods from the west. And as it got closer, the trees started to blow back and forth. All of a sudden, there was boom, a thunder and a lightning, and it woke him up. He saw the trees, and it started to drizzle. It started to rain. He packed up his gear and came back and told me that day they were going to present an eagle feather and make me a chief. And the Creator gave me the name Nigan, the way we done. And I was to carry that the rest of my life. And everywhere I go, everywhere I travel, I should talk to families and mothers and fathers, newborn children, people that were pregnant, people that already have children. Go out and give your tobacco. Find an elder, find a spiritual person, give them that tobacco and get your children their God-given spirit name. And that is my name, Nigan, the way we done. The thunder before the storm. A lot better than Clyde, right? I think it is. I wanted to tell you that a little bit because that's what this movement is all about. It's a spiritual movement. The only weapon, if you want to call it a weapon, is our way of life, our spirituality, our language, our culture, our tradition. That's why they took it away in 1890. Because it brought Indian people together. Indian people traveled for days and weeks to get to a Sundance. On my home reservation in Whitewood, they said you got up on the highest hill, and as far as you could see, there was wigwams and teepees. Where the Lakota, and the Chippewa, and all the tribes in the Great Lakes area would come together for these big spiritual gatherings and ceremonies were going on. And that made the government paranoid. The Indians they're all getting together, talking their languages, yes. We better divide them, put them on reservation, establish boarding schools, strip them of their college, their language, and all that. Otherwise, they're gonna run over. They're going to run over us. That's what we've been fighting all of our lives. And that's what the movement is all about. My mother never asked me ever again to forget about the past. Nobody dares to ask me to forget about. They want us to forget about our past. Our past is our future. Our past is our future.